Hi everyone and welcome back to Research Ready, from topic to research, your go-to podcast for everything research related, especially made for our students who want to level up their research game. By the way, I am Jerome Cabanayan and this podcast is here to guide you for your entire research journey, step by step, chill but very informative and student-friendly. And for today's episodes, we're diving into one of the most crucial part of the research, the collecting data with accuracy and integrity. Kasi nga, minsan naiisip natin or dumadating tayo sa part na na-realize natin na ay hindi lang pala siya survey ang pagko-collect ng data or hindi lang to interview, but it takes discipline, consistency, and for today's theme, honesty. And para naman ma-help tayo ma-unpack ang mga nangyayari sa buhay natin, especially in collecting data, we are joined by someone who has extensive experience in teaching research and guiding countless students, researchers with their data processes. So let us welcome Dr. Marlene Lee Tejada. So she is an associate professor at Ateneo de Naga University, teaching economics and statistics. She has served as a chairperson of the Institutional Research Ethics Committee since 2021 and conducts training on research ethics, leadership, SPSS data analysis, public opinion polling, public service excellence, and the technology participation. So thank you so much for joining us, Ma'am Marlene, today.
Hello, good afternoon.
Ayan. So, may gusto po ba kayong batiin sa fans niyo? Ayan. Sige, just fun fact pala, Ma'am Marlene has been mentoring researchers for years now. Kaya, she's the perfect guide for today's episode on collecting data properly and ethically. Ayan. Thank you so much, Ma'am, again.
Thank you too for inviting me in this podcast. Yeah. Hello, today's topic is essential, because data collection passes through all research, whether it be primary data collection or secondary data collection or quantitative data or qualitative data. While research methods vary by discipline, the emphasis on ensuring data is accurate and honestly collected remains constant for all disciplines. That's why we have to know that when we do data collection, we have to emphasize that this is not just about data, gathering any data that you want, but it should be something that you will gather information and measurement of the variables you as researchers have set. So when you gather data, make sure that this data will answer your research questions, test your hypothesis, and evaluate your outcomes. Now, when we do this, we need to be honest, and when we are honest, then we are accurate. Now, this all refers to data integrity, because if we have done and we have collected data honestly, using established consistent procedures, then we are producing data with integrity, okay? Now, how do we do that? We have actually two approaches, no? One, we call it quality assurance. When we say quality assurance, this is done before data collection. So, it's not we just gather any data again, but we have to be prepared. So quality assurance is done before data collection. So when we say quality assurance, we need to prepare. We need to prepare a comprehensive and detailed manual of data collection. So by doing that, every research members would know what would be the consistent procedures that you will have to conduct in data collection. So it means, like in thesis, if it's a group work, if it's a group research, so everyone in the members should know what to collect, how to collect, when to collect, and who is responsible in every stage of the data collection. Now, another approach would be during and after data collection. So we can ensure, everybody knows naman that we do not want to have fraudulent data, no? We do not want to be dishonest. So we always assume that people are honest. But in case that we want to make sure that consistent procedures are done, then we have to make sure that we also have quality control. No? In professional research, we train. No? We train enumerators. We call it enumerators for those data collectors. No? But for thesis, let's say it's a group of students, then you can train also. Even 5 or 2 or 3 students can train. No? We have what we call a training plan. So you have to identify what variables you will collect based on the definition of terms that you had arrived at. So from there, you can have a consistent way of dealing with data. No? So one way of, let's say, in quantitative data, to be accurate, we have to stick with the protocol. We have to stick with what have been defined as we were trained. Okay? So that's quality assurance. And then quality control now comes when we go to the field and, of course, observe. No? Kasi in the beginning of the data, in the beginning of data collection, we also train. No? When we train, we have mock interviews. So to make sure that we have really asked consistently the questions that we have prepared for our respondents. Then after that, in quality control, we have to make sure that all those data that were written are consistent. When we say consistent, kasi sometimes makikita mo na lang ang layo ng sagot. No? Hindi logical. So pag hindi logical, ano na siya? Questionable na siya. At kaya also we ask for timestamps. Ano oras nag-interview? Start? End? So makikita natin kung, kasi sa mga professional enumerators, meron na silang, kumbaga, kung consistent ang pag-collect nila ng data, makikita mo sa quality control kung matagal ba sila sa isang respondent o mabilis ba sila. So it means pag may ganyang inconsistency, there is something, there's a problem with that. Okay? So to be able to ensure data is accurate and data is honestly produced, we have to do the 2 approaches. Quality assurance and quality control. So we do it before the data collection, and then we do it during and after data collection.
Thank you so much po, ma'am. Actually, hindi lang siya nag-walkthrough tayo, no? But we deepened the knowledge or nag-dive down po talaga tayo. So, kung ano ba talaga yung meaning ng collecting data with accuracy and integrity at kung bakit siya crucial sa ating papers na po. And actually, maganda, ma'am, yung na-emphasize talaga natin kung paano nga ba yung dapat accuracy, yung integrity at yung honesty natin pagdating sa research papers natin. It's not just about the numbers and but it's also kind of responsibility na kailangan nating binibuild natin sa paper natin. Pero ma'am, going back again sa mga questions natin, bakit po ba why is data integrity such a sensitive issue? Bakit kahit maliit na error, ma'am, parang ang laki kaagad ng epekto, ma'am?
Actually, pag sinabi kasi nating accurate and honest, galing sa tao. Okay? So, bakit ba tayo nagagawa ng research, di ba? We're doing research to improve the society, to increase our knowledge, and to also recommend policies. Now, if we were dishonest, assuming we were dishonest in collecting data, this really did not come from the people, then we are actually communicating a wrong policy, a wrong picture of the community. So this is already, in essence, violating our community people, no? Especially, we are doing research really coming from the respondents, coming from the people. So a slight dishonesty is not acceptable, of course. Kahit sabihin pa siyang slight, kahit isang data lang siya, no? Kasi ethically, mali na. Morally, lalong mali, no? Kasi we are reflecting what the people said. especially if we're talking about their opinions, their preferences, no? Especially in business. Diba, sa business, we want to know what the people really prefer. So we can do that if we really accurately get the data from them. Okay?
Yeah, thank you so much. Actually, maganda po talaga na ina-highlight din natin yung kapag yung konting dishonesty, it can leads to so much misinformation. So,
Yes.
talagang pwedeng magkamali yung mga tao sa pagtingin sa mga binibigay rin natin na information din sa kanila. So, pwedeng magkaroon sila ng collapse pagdating sa kanilang mga businesses especially or sa mga ginagawa rin nilang research dahil sa mga wrong information din na binibigay natin sa kanila. Lalo na ngayon na everything po is very fast-paced and digital at talagang kailangan na extra careful po talaga. Okay, I think that sets up po everything talaga, na-build up na po talaga natin kung ano nga ba yung background information natin when it comes to collecting data. And now, let's get into some questions po sent by our very own students talaga. At kung nag-submit ka dati, ay ito na talaga yung pagkakataon mo para masagot yung question mo. So, makakatulog ka na ng mahimbing tonight. So, ang relatable naman ang magiging question natin, grabe. So, lalo na pag nag-check ka ng surveys, responses, tapos may isang biglang blank space or blank page. Parang gusto mo na lang talagang i-close yung laptop mo at matulog na lang ng mahimbing, di ba? So, hindi ka talaga makakatulog pag ganun. Pero, ang ganda nito nung sinabi ni ma'am na there are actually a proper ways of collecting data. Pero, ang main question natin is, ma'am, what is ethical boundaries must be respected during the data gathering?
Okay. Most research concern humans. Okay? Kaya, ang research pati is an extraordinary endeavor. It's not done in our daily lives. So that means we have to ask the consent of the participant or respondent. So yan yung main point ng ating ethics in research. No? Of course, na-mention na natin kanina na research integrity is prime importance also. Pero second dyan, syempre, yung sinasabi nga natin, dapat payag. Payag yung kukuhaan mo ng data. Hindi pwedeng sige ka na lang ng sige, tapos saka kakahingi ng permiso. Kailangan alam niya yung rights niya. Pwede siya mag-refuse, walang consequence sa kanya. At siyempre, we will also provide them the time to really read it through, no? Kaya nga tinawag na informed consent. Kailangan inform mo na sila, then they should give their consent.
Yes. So, thank you so much, ma'am. Actually, ma'am, talaga, ethics is non-negotiable talaga. Hindi pwedeng parang gora ka lang ng gora, tanong ka lang po ng tanong, diba? Dapat yung informed consent po talaga is a really matter talaga. So, para complete yung data ko, hindi lang yung pwedeng mag-shortcut na lang. So, kasi nga po, once trust is broken, the whole research collapses. Kaya ang dami rin talagang guidelines and protocols na para protektahan yung respondents natin. Pero ma'am, ang next question po natin dito is, especially na bagay po na ngayong panahon na to is, how can technology be both a help and a risk in data collection?
Yeah, it's really a help. Especially ako researcher na since the 80s, no? So, akita ko talaga yung paper and pen. Technology talaga helps a lot. Ang sinagamit namin sa SSRC is Kobo tool, no? So, it makes us speedier in doing research, no? And pag sinabi mong speedier, may nakakat ng other steps. Like for instance, in Kobo tool, pag generate mo na siya, nandun na sa digital na yung pag-collect mo ng data, ang gagawin niya, summarize na siya, no? So parang Excel form na siya. Unlike before, isa-isa mong i-encode. So we have to pay encoders to encode the ano. Okay. So that's one major help of technology. But there are many more, no? But in the interest of time, pwede niyo naman akong tanungin later on. So ang risk naman dyan is of course, dapat busisiin natin yung, yung mga privacy something, mga settings ng ating mga technology equipment, no? Kung paano siya i-store, kung sino may access sa kanya, kasi baka magkaroon ng security breach, especially if you had gathered personally identifiable information, di ba? Sa ating Data Privacy Act, hindi pwede yon. Kaya kailangan malinaw sa iyo na yung papasukan mong technology will not make you also put you in a light that will put the endangered our respondents.
Actually, ma'am, correct ko po dyan. Especially ngayon na technology, although can make everything so fast, but at the same time, yung isang maling click mo lang can share already the information to others. So, naging danger po talaga yung magiging information na nakukuha natin. So, kaya kung careless ka, dapat naman, dapat kumaga hindi tayo maging careless sa paggamit ng technology natin. Dahil mas mabilis ang pagkakamali kung super bilis din natin siyang ginagawa. Or worse, kagaya nga po nasabi natin, nabibreach natin or nagkakaroon tayo ng inaccurate or automated results. At talagang nagkakaroon talaga siya ng masamang epekto sa research natin. Pero isa pa sa mga naging tanong ng students natin is, pagdating sa grupo, how can teamwork and coordination affect the data accuracy in a group research?
Yes, preparation is the key. No? As I've told you earlier, quality assurance, even if group mates kayo, kailangan malinaw sa inyo what is your plan, your data collection plan. Example, let's say sa business, you need household income. So, anong klaseng household income yung kukunin mo? Is it annual? Paano mo siya kukunin? Estimate ba or actual last year? So, kailangan consistent kayong as a teammate. Hindi pwedeng iba-iba. O yung isa estimate kinuha, yung isa actual. So, mali na yun. Yung sinasabi nga nating data accuracy should be consistent data.
Actually, thank you po, ma'am. Dapat may meeting of the minds po talaga. At alam mo naman, mahirap din po sa groupmates kapag may mga parang freeloader kung tawagin nila. So, akala nila siya yung gagawa, ito na pala. So, wala silang meeting of the minds. And especially with that, kailangan talaga po may group usapan talaga with that. And kasi if a person is inconsistent, sabugtad po talaga yung buong research nila. Bukod doon, bagsak na sa failed or malilate pa sila. So, for our second to the last question, ma'am, medyo seryoso to, ma'am. So, what red flags indicate potential data manipulation or dishonesty?
We need to prevent that to happen. First, kailangan ma'am may observation in the field, especially if you're having in your team a volunteer researcher or a paid researcher. So, we do direct observation. Direct observation already prevents one or many to be dishonest about data collection. Now, after data collection, then we have the quality control. We now look at the consistency of the data. So, red flag siya kapag yung nga sabi ko sa inyong masyadong ibang-iba yung timestamp. Yung time of interview niya, ibang-iba, no? Tapos makikita natin, sa ating mga interview questionnaires, usually there are logical questions, meaning you have to answer one first before you can answer the other one. Now, if you skip one, maybe you don't need to answer the next one. So, dito, makikita natin kung illogical. So, mga illogical answers already is a red flag that you have to take note.
Thank you so much, ma'am. O, tanda sa mga researchers natin dyan, kapag inconsistent, red flag na yan. So, kailangan consistent siya, no? So, pero ma'am, for our last question, for perennial question po natin, ma'am, are you ready po? Miss Universe. So, how should researchers handle missing or incomplete data po?
Oh, yan. Missing and incomplete data can be prevented during data collection. We have what we call somebody who should review the, let's say if it's a Kobo tool or a paper and pen, you have to review the answers, okay? And you have to also be consistent. When will you review? Say after a week of collecting. When you review, you can already find if there are missing data. No, that's why you ask permission. Ask permission from the respondent if you can also get their cell phone numbers. Oh, of course, it's a no-no yan, pero you can also ask. Kasi it's better now with the technology nga of cell phones, you can already call them and ask if this is what they really answered, no? Minsan kasi marami na rin kami na-encounter niya na mamali ng edad, no? Like, dapat ay 26 years old, ang nahisulat lang 6 or na-encode lang 6. So, nagkakaroon ng error in data, hindi lang missing data. Another one, when you're after the data collection, you can also, in analytical stage, you can now make some resolutions, no? Sometimes you can just delete the whole data. If you have really enough data naman, you can remove it if it will not affect it. But others would use many ways. let's say, be consistent. If you use mode yung more frequent, i-replace mo dun sa missing data, or if you will use the mean, or you can use regression again to find what could be, we can predict the data there. Now, the important thing is that when you do such measures, document it, report it in your proposal, in your thesis, in your manuscript. Everything should be transparent. Yun ang key dyan. Transparent kung paano nyo nire-resolve yung mga issues on missing data.
Thank you so much po, ma'am. We have to emphasize with the transparency po, no? Especially when it comes to having this information sa mga correspondents natin na kailangan complete din talaga. And thank you ma'am for answering that questions po. So before we wrap up everything, ma'am, we'd love to hear your quick advice or powerful advice to students currently navigating data gathering stage. So ano po ba yung golden reminders mo para sa amin mga nagre-research?
Okay, medyo backtrack tayong konti. Pag sinabi nating data gathering, make sure muna that your proposal was well written. Kasi naka-base sa proposal natin kung paano tayo magde-develop ng instrument. Okay? So, kung malinaw sa atin yung conceptual framework and the definition of terms, malinaw din nating ma-lay down sa ating questionnaire kung anong gusto nating i-collect na data. So, once we go there in the field, wala naman ang problema. You just be true to yourself, ask permission, get their consent, then you now collect data as written. So, be consistent lang and be truthful to what is being asked. Do not deviate. Kasi when you deviate, you are now getting into inconsistency. So we can be inconsistent if we will not deviate from what we call the questionnaire or the protocol.
So thank you so much po, Ma'am Marlene, for everything. Actually, marami tayong wisdoms at marami tayong realization for today. Kaya naman, super duper enjoy natin for these episodes. And for everyone watching, remember, your research is only as strong as the honesty behind your data. Integrity isn't optional. Kaya naman, see you on our next episode for our episode 5, where we'll talk about organizing and analyzing your data clearly and effectively. So, kaya naman, see you and kita-kits for our Research Ready.